Do you ever feel like a plastic bag? Do you ever feel disappearing like a house of cards? Caving in. Do you ever feel already buried deep? 6 feet under street, but no one seems to hear a thing. Do you know that there's still a chance for you? 'Cause there's a spark in you. You just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just on the night, like the 4th of July. Spirit, you're a make it go. There's a shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a fire. You can't let you go. Let's burn, make it go. You're gonna leave it on it
On the 17th December 2011, SABM Bangsa Malaysia hosted a joint program with Club Alami, Mukim Tanjong Kupang, Johor. The youth rangers comprising of young children who take interest in marine science shared their experiences with the city folks was indeed educational. The focus of the club is to increase environmental awareness amongst the young people of the area so that they will begin to understand and appreciate the natural heritage that is in their backyard. Not only are the children engaged in a constant series of environmental education programs, but they are also trained as youth rangers who monitor their natural environment and conduct regular studies on habitat status and experiments in the seagrass and mangrove areas, guided by scientist advisors. At the same time, their familiarity with their surroundings and the assets of their ecosystem allows them to become guides for visiting schools or tourists to the area.
Hello, welcome to Saya Anak Bangsa Malaysia. This is our Rural Urban Exchange Program. My name is Azira Aziz from Saya Anak Bangsa Malaysia.
Could you briefly let me know what is the program tonight?
The program for tonight is we're going to have a presentation about the marine ecosystem by the kids from Tanjong Kupang, Malaysia, Johor. And as you can see over there, there's already some specimens that they brought back all the way from Johor. They're explaining to people as they go on, so it's quite good. They're sharing their knowledge and their experience from being in the wetlands of Johor here in Rumah Anak Bangsa Malaysia.
I missed the smile. Before we begin tonight, we're going to be very patriotic and we're going to sing our national anthem.
Serena, all the way from Tanjong Kupang, Johor.
Tonight she's here to give a short talk about her experiences. I'm from Bangsa, actually. Yes, so I borrowed the kampung and kids for a little while, but I think I will keep them for a bit longer. So me and Suzanne, who's sitting there, had this dream, this Anak Kepulauan dream, and we wanted to do this program for island children, environmental education program. And it was something we wanted to do since, I think, 2005. And then we tried to put it through, and then we had problems with funding, and so it got shelved. And then in 2007, something like that, I took a road trip to Mukim, Tanjong Kupang, and I went to see the seagrass meadows. And I completely fell in love. This is seagrass, the kids will tell you a lot more about it. And this is sunset, it's gorgeous. You just stand there, it's huge. And I stood there and I realized how tiny I was on this huge seagrass bed. And so I fell in love with the seagrass. So essentially the dugong found her home. And so the next year, I moved to Tanjong Kupang in Chinese New Year. So by next year, Chinese New Year, I would have been there for 4 years. And that's how I ended up there. So they supported me and they gave me the chance to start some sort of environmental education programs in 2 schools. Because one teaches at secondary school and one teaches at one teaches at Sekolah Rendah. So I started off alone actually with trying to help these teachers. And then Lan was our boatman taking us out to sea. But then it didn't really work in the schools because there wasn't much time for us. And so we decided to start the program on its own outside of the school system so that we could open it to more kids. So then came Kelab Alami. And these are the kids, and these are actually our supporters from Singapore, the Storm Riders. They're a big biker group. They came down and they've come several times. And they come, they meet the kids, they eat with us, and then they take the kids for rides on super bikes all around the kampung. Other people get jealous, we enjoy it. And so Suzanne is always hovering in the background. So it's actually me teaching the kids on the ground. Lan gives them all the fun things to do, like he makes them soccer fields and stuff like that. I just give them work. And so I have many other angels in the background as well. So that was how Kelab Alami started. What do? They work outdoors. They do field work, they do monitoring, they do experiments. I get a lot of advice from real scientists, some of whom are here as well. I should not embarrass them. But everything that I know actually comes from them. And so it's filtered down and taught to them. So they spend a lot of time out in the field doing hands-on with science, which they don't get in school by far. They also do serious stuff indoors, because you have to supplement that. And so they do sometimes arty things, like designing things with leaves and nature. And then they do presentations, they collect samples and they clean it. And then they have English lessons which I teach on the weekends. And then they guide others. They are trained as ecotourism guides. So from standard 3 to 19, they are trained as guides for various ecosystems. We have a farm, which they did from scratch, which they tell you about. They guide them in the forest, in the mangrove forest, as well as at seagrass. And they also teach others in the kampung. On top of that, they also come out. We have now taken them out to KL twice to teach other people. Last year they came out because ISKL had a fundraising for us. But this year, not this group, but another group of kids, and Manisa, who's here, gave talks at University Malaya and University Technology Mara, which is my university. And they were teaching undergraduates about the marine ecosystems. And some of the undergraduates were really, really impressed. And then we have visiting experts. So we have real scientists, who I happen to know, come down and teach them about science. As in, they don't just hear from me because then they'll get bored. So I bring down the real experts and they come to teach them. I forgot to mention that I'm also doing my PhD because, I was planning to throw everything I own into that house and the kids. My family said that I should get something out of it on the side, and so I decided to do my PhD. But the PhD was never the main purpose. It's now just the thing I have to survive. And then they go on field trips. As I mentioned, we take them out of the kampung. Before I was there, some of these kids had never even been to JB town. We are in a little town under the second link bridge to Singapore. Some of them had never been as far as JB. Just going to the cowboy town, which is our bandar Galampata, is an exciting thing. So, because of support from so many people here and my friends and family, we have been able to take them to KL a couple of times. We have a seagrass camp for Sekolah Menengah in Pulau Tinggi. We've taken them to Sedili, which is on the east coast of Johor, we're on the west coast. But then the thing that really brings these kids together They've been here for 3 days now, I think, and I think people have seen that they're very tight. They're like a family. We tell them they're like a family. But the magic really lies in things like this, which is the fun and games, the birthday parties, the quarterly kanduris, the games, sports. Lan will organize sports days. They'll have, a lot of it is eating lah. We do a lot of eating. And then there was the dream. And it was my abstract dream because I had no ability to put it into action. But really it was Lan's vision. And we took the field in front of where I live, and it was like this, you know, a samak taller than me. That was Cikgu Zurina, who, okay lah, it's not very tall, but still. And they did by hand, it came out like this. First they cleared everything, and they were playing in these puddles, and then they cleared it by hand. You can see some of the boys here. And the wheelbarrow has a hole, so every time you feed it, something drops out, and they have to keep filling it again. And then first it was like bamboo bulo, just stuck in as the goalpost. They picked up all the stones from here, picked up by hand, and tossed it by the side so that I had like a gravel front porch so I could drive on. And then they built the condos, and then we managed to rent the house next door thanks to a Shell grant. And so they cleaned it and worked on it and painted it. And now, as you can see, the soccer field is something that is, you can play on it. And now, they have like screens all around it. And we have teams because, I don't know, Lan's old soccer jerseys are now given down to the kids. And as you can see, these are girls playing. Now we have girls playing soccer. And people say things but they don't care, Abang Lan is behind them. So they all play soccer. We have a girls team, a girls soccer team. And they can whack the boys, they're not scared to tackle Abang Lan, no. And the clubhouse has become a place for them to study. They come and their project, they ask for help. They do their own work with their talks and presentations. Lan has built a swing, monkey bars, and seesaw. There's lots of other things that we organize. There's the planting at Pulau Kukup. I don't know, he takes them to look for lokan in the mangroves so that we have something to eat. Soccer, every time there's Malaysia plays, in the SEA Games, we had a big soccer party out front. It was food, of course. They come together and they clean things for the kampong. If the schools have a sports day, we all go. So it's not about me. It's not Kampong Serena. It is actually Lan's kampong. I'm just borrowing it. And it really is about everybody else that has supported this. There's always the problem with not enough money. One of my biggest sponsors is a Fendi sitting there in the corner who's paid for our clothes and many things. He's a family member that wants me to hurry up and finish my PhD and get a real job. Yes, and then, I have to study, and then I'm trying to do a million things at one time, and I'm living in a kampong like, okay lah, it's not really in the middle of nowhere, but it's quite secluded, and lots of times I feel like I'm in jail. And then I always miss KL food. Kampong food is really good, but sometimes I need pizza and pasta, and we don't have these things in Johor. Okay, so that's really what's happening. And because it's a kampong, I'm a city girl. I have been accused of all kinds of things, from trying to convert people into Christianity to raising child terrorists. Do they look like child terrorists? To being the devil, to being stuck up, to doing witchcraft, all kinds of things. That's what happens when you work in local communities, because they don't know you. You're an outsider. At the end of the day, you are always going to be an outsider. But no matter what, the kids make it worth it. So while I go through a gamut of emotions, like really badly, I always run to Starbucks in my trusty green car. I drive about 50 kilometers to a Starbucks in JB. Or I sit on Facebook and I get in touch with the rest of the planet, which, to keep me sane. And then every time I come out with the kids, everybody tells me the kids are amazing. They think it's a good thing, and they think it's something that is needed. And that keeps me going. So thank you for coming and watching this and giving us support. And these are actually my angels. All of these people had some part to play in my survival in the village for the last 4 years. And yeah, so these are my angels. I just want to put them up. So these are the people who helped me make it through. So the future, I was supposed to talk about the future. Actually, this has been a year of lots of little nodes on the spiderweb coming together. And Kelab Alami is actually set to expand. So while we're in Johor, and these are my pilot group of kids, the program to me has been a success. And if you look at the kids, maybe you feel the same way. And so what we want to do is to expand it to other places. And then because of the people we've met, there's the Tanah Roots or SABM, all these people have had a part to play, and they're sort of bringing the whole plan together. So by next year, if we can pull through the funding in the next couple of weeks, we are hoping to expand to Treasures Hill, KKB, Langkawi, and eventually hopefully have an institute where we can teach people to teach local community kids and bring environmental education to the outskirts and spread things like this. We're hoping we're in the progress of coming up with an agreement with so that we can train undergraduates and undergraduates can go out and teach so that, we're not all over the place. The program is actually on the ground, probably me and Lan and Suzanne, who's up there and there. So we're all going to converge on Langkawi eventually, and Mo, who's not here tonight, she's also always in the background and giving sane advice to slightly loony people. So we hope to expand, all over the peninsula, Sabah, Sarawak, and then eventually, because we are now supported by the Asian Geographic Society, and they would like to see the program expand in the region. So they have, through EASY, which is an Environmental Education Alliance, we have contacts in Jakarta, we have contacts in Thailand, I have friends in Cambodia. So who knows, in 5 years, Kelab Alami might expand that way. But if not, then we'll try that for Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak in the next 3 years. At least we give it a shot. Because when you look at the kids, then it's really worth any pain. And there's Marisa for one. Mai, Darjah 5. Hidayah, Darjah 4. Wani, Darjah 6. She just got 5 A's in her standard 6. Also Darjah 6. Ika, Form 2. She's at the back. Arif, Darjah 5. Aikal, Form 1. Mirul, Form 2. I did not teach her that. Acha, Form 2. Okay. You only see 10 kids here because that's all, they're supposed to be in a camp with 10 urban kids, but we have about 35 kids in the club. And everything you see here today, the traditional games that you all enjoyed, the slides that you see was the work of at least 25 kids. So the kids who couldn't come, they also took time to help them make things.
My name is Amy.
How do you come to get involved to teach them how to dance?
My mom is friends with them and
What was the experience like?
fun, I guess.
Would you want to do it again?
Maybe.
Where do you learn all the movements?
I made it myself.
You make up yourself. So how do you find a bunch of children like that?
Very obedient.
Do you feel that they are out of place with you?
No.
They love it? Thank you so much.
It went off pretty well, definitely. I'm so proud of the children. I think they did a fantastic job.
I think the dancing and the speaking were pretty good. The kids, the kids were good.
After tonight, what's there? Especially for the children.
Well, I think they get to meet each other again. The city kids will come to the temple and supper. And then, what was after that?
And then we have to plan for next year and have them have more exchanges, have the rural kids come up and enjoy our programs and our different modules that we're going to be presenting and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things planned for next year. They're in the pipeline. Hopefully we'll be able to cultivate this curriculum that gives them the opportunity to do things that they've never done before.
Like what you have been doing for the children and the programs that you have, why don't you approach the government for funds?
Well,
Have you tried that?
no. I have some funds from my university. It was supposed to be for me but it went to the kids. But I've got private funders and family and friends. So I don't have time actually.
With the RUEP, it's a brand new program. It's not been proven. There's no real backing behind it. So at the moment we can't really approach people and then they'll ask, okay, well, what's your proof that this program works? So at the moment, it's just about building it to the point where then we can approach people and say, look, would you like to sponsor certain aspects of the program? And that's
For this program, do you have a limitation for the age group?
10 to 17 years old.
Above that? No.
No, we will see them from 10 years old right up to 17,
I see.
which is about from 5, end of school.
In this short duration of their age group, how much do you think they would be able to benefit? How much do you think they will be able to grasp what you are going to disseminate to them?
Oh, I think kids, they can pick up information,
Like a
really
sponge.
quickly.
Yeah.
So like the kampung kids, within 1-2 years, they pick up so much information, and they are very capable of disseminating it to others, as I think was evident tonight. And they've done it quite a few times. So I think it is very possible to do a lot with kids in a very short period of time, because there is interest.
Just now you have given a very thorough explanation of what you have been doing. Alright, that is very good. And I'm very curious, when you get your PhD, what then?
The PhD was something on the side actually. I didn't do it because of the PhD. I just did the PhD because my family said so. Because I was going to throw in all this money and time, and they said I might as well get something out of it. So right now it's just getting the thing out of the way. And really I'm going to expand the club. So whether I fail or pass the PhD, because I might still never get it. I'm going to expand the club and open in other areas so that these kids can then teach other kids in other areas, rural areas.
You are young, you are vibrant, and what makes you want to go into this kind of project where it is rather confined, just only the small group of children? What is that at the back of your mind that years to come, what do you envisage for yourself?
For me, really, I just need to be near the sea. And down there got seagrass. So I need to be near the seagrass. And then I make little ponds who also love the seagrass. Yeah, that's it. There's not many places with seagrass in Malaysia, so this is one of those places where it's easy to get to and I don't need to rent a tank.
My area of specialty is sex trafficking in Southeast Asia. I am a criminologist by trade, so it will just involve rescuing women and children from the sex trade and from the pornography industry and that sort of thing. So I'll always be working with children, I think, at some point in time. But this is my happy times because I deal with such depressing work that this is my happy space.
My final question, ladies, working with children is never easy.
No.
Where do you get your patience?
Oh no, when they drive me crazy, I just let them off.
Yeah.
It's very simple. There are rules, they follow it, if not they get told off.
Yep,
Then,
pretty much.
after a while they get used to you and your limitations, and they make sure they stay within it, otherwise they will get told off, and yeah, they learn.
It's about disciplining them,
Yeah.
and they'll follow. And I think as long as you set that strong role model thing, they're fine.
At this growing age, having the boys and girls together, don't you think the hormones can go a little bit haywire?
I think that whole thing of the sex, that sort of stuff. I think unless it is like thrown in their faces, kids will be kids. They just want to have fun. They want to play with their friends, their best buds. And I think as long as we don't overanalyze the situations, I think they will just they'll rock on.
The kids that I have, we train them that, they're family. Most of them are related to each other anyway. So they are close-knit because they spend that time together and they see each other as family. So everybody looks after each other like they are ready.
Brothers and sisters.
And so there's none of this nonsense. At least, not with us that.
Yeah.
So I must salute both of you. It's not an easy job,
No.
and it's not an easy task either. And I think I look at it until today, I think it's very successful. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you. It's the kids. It's always the kids.
Hope to catch up with you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would you want to have an exchange and stay in the rural area?
Exchange program.
You like to stay in the city?
Of course. because I like shopping, learn to dance, and sleeping, and likes to eat too.
Hello, my name is Wani. I am 12 years old.
Hello, my name is Win. I'm 12 years old.
Hello, my name is Mai. I am 11 years old.
My name is Afika. Just call me Fika. I'm 14 years old.
Adik-adik ini semua hari ini datang KL untuk apa?
Untuk belajar dan berkongsi kawan, berkongsi pengalaman dan dapat jumpa kawan-kawan baru.
Bagaimana perasaan hari ini?
Saya berasa gembira kerana dapat kawan dan juga menari.
Kalau ada pulang datang KL lagi sekali nak datang tak?
Nak.
Dek, kalau ada pulang duduk di KL suka tak? Atau nak suka duduk di kampung?
Bagi saya ialah KL sebab KL ni rasa macam lebih banyak bangunan yang unik, cantik, yang tak ada dekat kampung.
Dek, bila nak datang KL lagi?
Saya rasa mungkin tahun depan saya akan datang ke sini lagi jika berpeluang lah.
Jadi program ini adik semua dalam minat tak program ini?
Saya berasa amat minat untuk menyertai program ini kerana program ini telah mengubah sikap saya, iaitu daripada saya ni seorang yang macam pendiam jadi dah boleh bersuara.
I don't know how to say it, it's so amazing. I only wish that the authorities will learn how to do this better in terms of the experiential learning that they have gone through. I think more teachers should be here to listen to you and how to go about it. Yeah? But I just want to find out, you said it took 4 years, almost 4 years, right? I'm sure you went through a lot of challenges, but to bring the kids to this level of presentation, and I was watching them, I was picturing them, all of them almost being university lecturers at the time they become. Cuma akan jadi pensyarah lah. The only reason you're not going to bring questions is everybody here was not so science literate. They are all pretty in awe of the things they have seen and wonderful photographs. So, but I just want to understand the process you went through. I'm sure in terms of taking them almost zero knowledge in the area to the level you have brought the process.
The kids now come to me and say, Ka, why do they not teach marine science in school? I don't quite get science. If they did marine science, I would get an A. And I only teach them marine science because that's all I know. I'm not a scientist. My scientist friends are here. I'm just the one that takes their information and puts it into normal people's language. Sorry, not kids. And I only know marine, so I couldn't teach them anything else really. I don't know anything about anything on land. So they only know marine science because that's all I can teach them. And really it was easy because these kids come for the club because they want to be there. Because it's not in school, they choose to come. And some of them walk, some of them ride the bikes, some of them take motorbikes. It's up to them. So they want to be there, therefore they want to learn. So it's really easy for me. I just teach and they suck it up like a sponge. And it's come to a point where programs are on Sundays, and then on the weekdays if they're nearby, if they have transport, they all come over after school. And then because we have the soccer pitch and the playground and the seesaw and all that, they come to play as well. Now it's school holidays and they live there like 24/7. So we have a clubhouse next door. Clubhouse used to be my house, but thank God for Shell, they gave us a bit of money so we could rent the house next door. So they live there, Lan babysits them, I just cook. And then I give them food and I teach them, and they come and they ask, Kak, do you have anything for us to do? Kak, is there any project that we can do? 2 weeks ago they did a science fair project and they were so excited about learning. They went and they did a tremendous job, beyond anything I expected. And now they want more, So it's really from them because they want to learn, so I'm happy to share. I bring in my friends and my friends are all like, so happy to teach them because really they say that they are more willing to learn and more excited and more passionate than their own university students. So it really is in them, and I'm really sure that all over the country There are lots of kids like that who are just thirsty for information, who would love to learn things that would interest them. You know, it's not just blah 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 in school. It's something they can go and touch and feel and learn because they want to. And that in turn will, you know, give them more interest in other things. We have kids who have excelled academically. I didn't know this until later, but you know, some of them started out as below average students. I thought they were just, you know, average students. You know, Wani is an excellent student. We have another one, Jana, who's just finished Form 5. She's also an excellent student. All top 8, all straight A's, top students. But we also have many below average students who, we have one, Atika, she's not here because she came for the university talk. She was like bottom of her class. But then after 1.5 years of the program with me, and she walked from her house to ask me, Ka, can I join the club? You know, and she came out as the top student for her standard 6 exams, straight A's. We have Manisa, who in school, Manisa has been with me for like 3 years plus, and before she was like super blur, you know, English non-existent. Now, my God, out of the blue she replied to me in English, like wow, you know, look at her, she's so confident, I'm so proud of her. So, you know, Fika, Mirul suddenly wanted to speak English. Fantastic. Hidayah is so sweet. It's like, boleh puji lah mak, balik kepala terbelut. Yeah, they're wonderful because they want to be that way. So it's, you know, and I think because the interest in learning then spawns interest in other things, and the more, some teachers have told me they seem to be more awake to school. We have another boy, Kimi, who's 10, and he's also super blur. But, you know, after some time you can see that he's picking up, he's interested. I mean, he's not, the younger ones don't come out to the seagrass with us because they're too young. You know, we don't take them out in the boats. Life's very strict about safety. But the younger ones, you know, Arif, I heard just now was telling people about Enhalus and all these things. He's never even been to the seagrass. You know, he just learns this because he learns it from the older kids. And really, what you see today, everything that you see today is kids teaching kids. It's our kids teaching the Banda kids. It's our kids teaching each other, and that really is the crux of it. If you have kids teaching kids, that works. So in future, when we expand the club, what we hope to do is to bring these kids, which is why I say I'm going to keep borrowing them, and I'm going to take them to other places, and they're going to teach those kids. And then when we have enough places set up, we're going to aim for like youth conferences, so that all these kids can come together and share about their different ecosystems. Because with Suzanne and Mo, we then cover all ecosystems in Malaysia, because I only know marina, and Lan does our farm stuff. So then we bring them together, so they learn from each other, and then they go back and they teach their other youth rangers and their community about the other ecosystems. So that way hopefully we spawn a lot more interest. But it all comes from them. But the school one, the kids sometimes have assignments where they have to go and teach their friends about dugongs, about stuff. I give them actual assignments. It's not for fun club, you know, they have to learn. So I give them a lecture, they take tests, then they have to go and teach other people in their class, their peers, and then they test them. Or they go out and they interview older people, I keep saying old people, Nelayans and other experienced people in the world about the natural history. So we are also collecting local ecological information. And you know, they come and they tell me, Kak, you know, all my friends want to become members. You know, all my friends said they never knew what a dugong was before. Or my pakcik said, mana the dugong? And then we show them the picture and they're like, what do eh? And then there are other effects, like, you know, they'll go out and interview the fisherman or somebody, and then somebody will call them up the next day, hey, you were asking me about turtles or dugongs, there's one now at the jetty. So every time there's a stranding now, they will call either Lan, he's not around, they'll call the kids. And the kids will go down and measure it and report it, and this has happened twice when I wasn't around. And they did it, they went and recorded everything. So if you check on our Facebook page, there are 2 albums on, one on a dugong, one on a turtle. All the recordings and measurements were done by them. Because they know, okay, we need to find this out, we need to find this out, we need to figure out what species it is, what gender it is. And they do that, you know. So they do have an effect on the community. People are knowing that these kids know what they're doing. Yeah. So as for community support, where they are is not well off. Some of these kids only eat, you know, a family meal once a day because there's too many in the family. That's why we have a lot of food involved in our club. It helps. So they can't really give us like cash or anything, but they do support in terms of when, you know, we have guests coming, they help us to cook. Sometimes they drive the kids around, they help us drive the kids around. where we have borrowed somebody's van to bring people up here. So we give support that way. Sometimes support is just not saying horrible things about me. That's also nice support, you know. Or supporting me silently by saying, okay, take my kid, I trust you. Yeah, as long as you're with Kaina Abalan, that's fine. You know, so that already is quite good.
Serena, well done. Now, why we didn't ask any questions? It's because we were so overwhelmed. We actually do not know a lot about this sort of sea life and all that. But I was just interested in the dugong. Are they migratory? And if they are, have you all actually seen regular ones turning up again? Have you all sort of name them and all that?
Actually, dugongs are really tough. There's not very many people who have studied dugongs in Malaysia. We have one dugong scientist, and she, just now in the photo you saw, one of my girls were taking her around the mangrove. She's come to visit twice, but she is now putting together the funding to do some dugong work in the area. My friends have done dugong work before, but in the east coast of Johor, where you can see them every once in a while. But in our place, it's really hard. The fishermen see them, so we always get the fishermen reports. But it's not like, you know, whale dolphin watching where you can say, okay, we'll go out and look for dugong today. It's not. Because it's really hard to see. They surface like once every 20 minutes and then you barely see them and they go. Yeah, and they swim very fast. We've tried catching up with them, it doesn't work. Yeah. And that was Pulau Tinggi. So I personally have not seen a live dugong in our area. Lan has not seen a live dugong. We keep seeing dead ones. But fishermen, you know, that we know very well, they're not lying. They do see them quite often. Now less than before. They are migratory, not like whales, but they are migratory. This is the information I happen to know. But again, because there's so little information known about the dugongs in our area, we can't tell you what the population is, we can't tell you where they migrate around. I mean, I have my own assumptions, but again, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to say anything because then I'll sound stupid. But yeah, so again, just not enough work done on dugongs in Malaysia yet. There are so many constraints when you try to take kids who are supposed to be in school out to the field. The school does not want to have responsibility. They will tell you we have no money, we don't want to be responsible, there are too many forms to organize and so much stuff. Whereas with these kids, you know, the parents are like, oh, you're at Kaina's house. You want to go on a boat? Okay, go. And they don't care. I don't have all the bureaucracy to deal with. They sign indemnity forms that cover them for as long as they're with me, and that's it. You know, so it's really hard in the school because there's lots of hoops to jump through. But it's also because when weekends are supposed to be for Saturdays, say, are for club days, it always gets taken away, like, oh, we have to practice marching, or we have this other thing to do. So then, out of say 10 days that were supposed to be for environmental club, I only got 3. So it's quite pointless, and then I can only be in so many places on one weekend by myself. So it's easier if I'm outside of the school system, and then I can tap on kids from various schools, because we have 5 schools in the Mukim. So these kids are actually from all the different schools. Yeah, so it's easier that way. And then the teachers themselves, like Serena and Chikabak, we don't have time. So while in the beginning they were really excited, they helped. And after a while they saw it going, and they're like, okay, you deal with it. You know, because they just don't have the capacity to do it, they don't have time.
All the things that the kids experience in the rural areas are not the things that the urban kids would know. And all the things that the urban kids knows and have access to and are familiar with, the rural kids does not know. So we're just trying to, like in this case, basically about marine ecosystem. So it's amazing. I mean, I'm sure these kids are learning a lot of new things. Betul tak?
Yeah.